I was talking to a small business retailer the other day, and they were talking about this big business competitor just down the road from theirs. It's a national chain, hundreds and hundreds of stores, and their concern is that they can't compete with them. The reality is, I think they're worried about the wrong competitor. For sure, we in small business retail can't compete with big business, but we can compete with ourselves. And I think we're our most important competitor. I think it's important that we see how we've gone this month versus the same month last year to date this year compared to year to date last year. And that sort of analysis, competing with ourselves, can be really instructive because it helps us understand what the trend is for our business. Are things improving? Are they not improving? Are we making more money, putting more sales through the register? Are we selling more items, more unit sales than what we were selling before? In our Tower Systems point of sale software, we make it really easy for retailers to compete with themselves, to see how they're going this year versus last year. It literally takes a few seconds and you can easily do that comparison. And you can do the comparison for a week, for a month, for 6 months. You can compare this year with last year. You can compare this year with 3 years ago, which is really useful given the COVID pandemic. And you want to look at how we're going post-pandemic with what we were doing pre-pandemic. I think this comparison, this analysis of our business performance, considering ourselves as our competitor, is really useful because it takes away the kind of emotional noise that some of us worry about in terms of big competitors, national chains, and things like that. I own several small business retail businesses, and through Tower Systems, our 3,500 customers are all small business retailers. And it's really easy for us to get in our heads about these big business competitors. Another one just today reported their profit for the year of $1.2 billion or something like that. I can't even comprehend what that's like. And I think the reality is we're better off not getting caught up in all of that and focus on what we can change. And what we can change is within our business. So if you do this comparison, this analysis of how you've gone this year compared to last year, you might see that this part of your business over here is really doing well, and this part of your business over here is not doing so well. And so that immediate understanding helps you make decisions in your business that are important to you. When I was growing up, you come home from school sometimes, you complain about somebody, and my mother would say, well, I'm not concerned about them. I'm only concerned about you. And in business, that's what we should be concerned about. We should be concerned about ourselves. How are we doing now versus this time last year or this time, say, 3 years ago? How's business? How are our unit sales? How's our revenue? What is our average sale value? How many transactions are we putting through? You can look at this information based on the type of count that's important to you. For some categories in my shops, unit sales is important, but for other categories, revenue is important. And so having a report like we have with our monthly sales comparison report, it's really useful to be able to do this analysis, this comparison. So when a small business retailer talks to me about competition and they talk about big business competitors, I'll certainly listen to what they say. But the reality is, I would suggest that they focus on looking at themselves as their most important competitor. Because the reality is, if your business is improving today compared to how it was just 12 months ago, that's great news. And those small green shoots, those moments of positivity can really encourage you. They can put wind in your sails and help you do much better within your business. So I would say, look at yourself as your competitor. Understand where you're at today versus a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and then use that information to motivate yourself to be more successful. Because the reality is no one's going to do it for you. One thing we do learn in small business is that our success and our failures are up to us to own. And that's why looking at how we're doing and considering ourselves as our own most important competitor is a really important thing to do. My name's Mark Fletcher. I'm the owner of Tower Systems. We deal primarily with small business retailers, and I really appreciate the fact that you've watched the video. Thank you.